Hey guys, I want to show you guys my favorite app or my favorite website, the one that I probably use most across all of my content levels, whether it's U.S. History, Economics, AP U.S. Government, a co-taught class, an AP class, and it's called Peardeck for Google Slides. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, in just a second. Pre-warning, I'm at school. I don't have any students right now, so someone may walk in or there may be an announcement, of course. All right, so I'm going to show you here. This is just the Peardeck website. You can see, and it kind of just gives you a lot of resources, tells you all about it. If you have a Google account, it's free. There is a premium. My school doesn't pay for the premium, but even without paying for the premium, I find this so useful. So if you scroll down, you can see some different things. Basically, you have Google Slides and you can add in all kinds of things like quick checks, formative assessments. You can make it multiple choice questions, drag and drop. You can make it true, false, matching. You can have students draw things. It's actually really fun and really interactive. If you have the premium version, you do have a teacher dashboard where you can look at all of your students and what they're doing. But even without the teacher dashboard, when students draw something or they make a response, I can see it, of course. And it is anonymous for the students, but for the most part, my students always seem to do really good with it. We just set out, those rules at first. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to show you a few different ones. So for example, here is something we did just a few weeks ago when we were learning about the Cold War. So if I want to take my Google Slides and build it into a Peardeck, I just have to come to add-ons right here, and it says Peardeck for Google Slides. So I'm going to open the Peardeck add-on, and of course it will bring it up. You just have to be logged into your Google account, and I've got a couple things I can do. So I can go ahead and add some things here. If I want to continue creating more, I can add questions. So what kind of question do I want to ask students? They could type it, they could have a choice, there could be numbers, I can add a website, I can add videos. Now on the premium, you see there's draw and drag, there's audio that you can add, things like that. But of course, we don't have the paid version and it still works really well. So I'm going to show you how it works. When I click Start Lesson, I have two options. I can either do an instructor-paced activity or I can give it to students and they do a student-paced activity without me controlling it. So for this specific one, this was our notes on the Cold War and the Civil Rights Unit. So I wanted students to follow along with me. So I click instructor-paced activity. So what happens is this pops up on my smartboard, and it gives students a little code, and they're going to go to joinpd.com and they're going to put in this code, and it will give them access to my Google Slides, but they can't move forward until I've moved the slides forward. So I'm going to show you what it would look like on a student screen as well. So let's say I'm a student, I have my Chromebook out. I just go to this website, joinpd.com. Now, if my students don't have Chromebooks, they've done it on their phone as well. We all have Chromebooks, but if a kid forgets it, it's no big deal because they can pull it up on their phone. So they're going to put in this code. So DDYGQC. Okay. So they put in the code and this pops up. It always asks them how they're feeling. And it loads the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to pull this down so we can see what a student would see, and then what I'm seeing on my screen, so I can show you side by side of what students see. Okay, so on the right is the student version, and then on the left is what I see on my screen. So I click Start Presentation, and so right now the student can see what I see. So whenever I click to the next slide, then for them, it goes to the next slide. And so I've asked them to draw or type two things they know about today's topic. So the Cold War and civil rights. So let's say they want to draw something. They can click here. They've got all kinds of things: pencil, paintbrush, highlighter. They can do text. There's an eraser. This is a sizer to make it big or small. So, they're drawing whatever. Or let's say they want to type here. Something like that. Okay. Now, as soon as they start typing, it shows up for me. So if I'm on the teacher version over here, I can click lock screens if I don't want students to make any more changes. I can click show responses. So this is going to show me what students have done. And this works really well in class because it is anonymous, so students don't really feel embarrassed or anything if they're not exactly sure the answer, but it pops up on my screen. A lot of times we scroll through it together and we look at what classmates have said, okay? All right, so as we keep going, some different things that I've added into this slide. Here is, again, another draw. So we've learned about containment, and they're having to draw something that represents our containment policy. This one is a video with some questions that they answer. So I'm going to make this big screen so you can see. So students write your response. So they would have the ability to watch the video on their own by clicking the link, or I can show the video and then they can write their response. I'll show you some, show you some other ones. So same thing here, a couple questions, and they can type their answer in here. And of course, as soon as they type their answer in, I can click show and I'll see what students are saying. A couple different ones. Let me go through. All right, this one is a multiple choice question. So something we've learned, just like a really quick check to make sure they're getting it. And of course, let's say they pick C as their answer, show response, and it shows what students chose. Okay. Now this one's pretty cool because it is a matching, right? So I've given students different vocabulary terms we've learned, and they just have to draw and drag. So I'm going to do it with a pencil. So a term coined by Winston Churchill, they would draw that to Iron Curtain, for example. And again, I show responses and I see what students are doing, okay? Now, if I want to look at the teacher dashboard, these three little buttons here, I can click and you can see open dashboard, a new window. This would show every student on the same screen. And again, we don't have the premium, so I can't do that. But at my school, we have something where I can look at student screens as they are working. So I kind of always know who's doing what they're supposed to and who's not, which is really nice. Let's see, I'll show you a couple other ones. So this one again is a video and answer the questions. So again, it's just really good for quick checks, keeping kids engaged because they know they're going to have to, do something with the information that they're learning. They're not just sitting and being passive, okay? So I'm going to end this one. You can name the session so you can go back and look at it. I'm just going to end it without naming. Now I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to use this besides just this one. Here's another one. This is one I would probably do as a student-centered activity. So for example, I'm going to go add-on, Peardeck, open Peardeck, and this time, whenever I choose to present, instead of choosing teacher-centered, when I click start lesson, I'm going to choose student-centered, so student-paced activity. And so I'll show you what this looks like for students. So this would be more of an assignment for them versus rather just something that we're doing in class together. So again, they have to go to joinpd.com. And again, they can do this with their phone if they need to, and they'll put in this code. Okay. Now, once they put the code in, it's theirs. They can move through it at their own pace. Okay, so for example, we've learned about the Gilded Age. So students have to give me, they have some questions to answer about the Gilded Age. This is just a little fun one. If you could take a trip anywhere in the U.S., where would you go and why? So they answer here. Now, this one, I've given them some instructions. I'm going to give them images, historical images from the Gilded Age, and they're going to brainstorm and see how they can connect these images to what they've learned about the Gilded Age. So they have this picture. We've learned about robber barons and monopolies and people like Rockefeller and Carnegie at this point. And so from this picture, they're supposed to write, what is it that they see? How does it connect to the Gilded Age? So they have several pictures of this doing the same thing. And sometimes they'll let them work with a partner. Sometimes they work by themselves. So it really just depends. And then finally to end, they have a summary of what the Gilded Age is. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that one. That's a different way to do it if you wanted to do a student-centered activity. Okay, now a couple other ways I've used it in class before for my AP Gov kids. We do a lot of this with writing. They have to learn how to write an argumentative essay. And so here's one. I'm not going to actually open it up this time, but here's one where kids are learning to write a thesis sentence. And so I've given them an example, and then they write their own thesis sentence. Then we do the same thing. I give them an example, and then they write their own thesis sentence. So this one's really cool. And then another one that we've done, similar activity, but you can see anything that's a Peardeck slide on the bottom down here, it has a little bar that says Peardeck. So you know students are going to have something to do on this slide. So for example, for this one, whenever I open it up, students would have a few things they have to do to highlight and show me where's the claim, where's the thesis, where's the reasoning, that kind of thing. So I'll go through a couple more Peardeck slides. So again, this one, same thing. They have a little icon to drag and drop. You'll see it down at the bottom. So again, there's just so many ways to use Peardeck. And the cool thing is it's right there built into your, Google Slides. And so this is something that we have access to. This is something I use constantly all across the curriculum. And it's just really easy. It's really easy to build. They actually already have like pre-made questions as well if you don't want to have to build your own. But I find that it's super easy just to build those Peardeck slides into my existing Google Slides. And if you're a one-to-one school like we are, and all of my students have Chromebooks, then it's pretty easy just to say, hey, we're making this Peardeck. You're going to have this as an interactive presentation, or even an assignment. So again, super easy. And the free version works perfectly for me. I don't even need the premium version for all the things that I use it for. But if you have any questions, let me know. Again, if you use Google as much as I do, I think it'll be really beneficial. Thanks.